Welcome to
Locust.
Fuck.
What's up, extraordinary people? I'm Daniel, and today we're going to talk about Jurassic World Dominion. So Jurassic World Dominion is the latest film in Universal's Jurassic Park / Jurassic World franchise. It's directed by Colin Trevorrow and stars an ensemble cast of characters from throughout the series. And it basically picks up where the last film left off, with dinosaurs being released throughout the world and the main characters needing to figure out what to do about this. At least, you would think that's what the movie would be about, but we'll get to that. So, I love dinosaurs, and I love Jurassic Park. I think the first movie is one of the best movies of all time. The sequel, The Lost World Jurassic Park, is a solid adventure movie. Jurassic Park 3 is a fun time despite having a lot of problems. Jurassic World is a really fun blockbuster despite having some problems. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is garbage, but at least has some fun sequences. And that's literally all I wanted out of this movie. I literally just wanted to have a fun time with it. And I was going to see it as soon as it got released in theaters, but the reviews came out and they weren't that great, and I had some other things on my plate that I had to do, so I basically put it off, but I finally just watched it. And it sucked! First of all, 90% of this movie is just exposition. It's just characters telling different plot points to each other in the most boring possible way. There's pretty much no action for like the first third of this movie, and the movie is like 2.5 hours long. The characters here are completely boring. They're given nothing interesting to do, no development, no interesting scenes, no jokes, no quips, nothing. Nothing about these characters is the least bit interesting or compelling. And the actors know it because all the performances in this movie are just phoned in. These are all great actors, but here they just don't care. Like, even on a basic level, there is no sense of urgency or danger to any of their actions or reactions. They never act like they're in real danger or take anything that seriously. They'll just be like, oh my god, oh no, there's a dinosaur. We better get out of here. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not much. Like, that's how I felt watching this movie. It's honestly embarrassing how bad these performances are. And I don't blame the actors for this. I blame the writers and director for not giving them better material to work with. And the villain in this movie is a total joke. They didn't even come up with an original villain for this movie. They just brought back Dodgson from the first movie. They literally brought back Dodgson. And if you don't remember who that is, he's this character.
Dodgson! Dodgson! We've got Dodgson here! See, nobody cares.
Exactly. Nobody cares. Why would you bring this character back? He's just a generic, greedy, power-hungry corporate executive that we've seen a million times before. The plot of this movie is a nonsensical, incoherent mess. It's stuffed to the brim with subplots that go nowhere and do nothing. So, remember the clone girl from the last movie? Yeah, I didn't think so. But there's this clone girl, Maisie, from the last movie, who let all the dinosaurs loose at the end of the movie. And apparently everyone's just cool with that now, because no one so much as even brings it up. But the big bad corporation wants Maisie, and this is really convoluted, but I'll try to explain it the best I can. So, Maisie was cloned from Charlotte Lockwood, who is a genetic scientist and the daughter of one of the founders of the original Jurassic Park. And Charlotte had genetic disease that eventually killed her, but before it did, and in fact before she even knew she had the disease, she cloned herself and created Maisie, for some reason. So of course her clone Maisie also would have the genetic disease, right? Well, yes, but Charlotte invents a cure that somehow changes the DNA in all of Maisie's cells and completely eradicates the disease from her. Now, of course this concept is entirely ludicrous and completely unscientific, but here's my question. Why didn't she use the cure on herself? I mean, she creates this drug that can somehow alter the DNA of every cell in the body exactly the way she wants it to, and it immediately works on her first test subject. And this galaxy brain genius with the world's most impossibly miraculous miracle cure doesn't think to use it on herself? And then she dies because of that? How is this character so smart and so stupid at the same time? And does this whole subplot even go anywhere or do anything? No, of course not, because why the fuck would it? Oh, and this movie also commits my least favorite movie trope of all time, the unnecessary forced romance. You see, Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler, two characters from the first movie who are also in this movie, are really old friends. But Alan is 20 years older than Ellie, so a romantic relationship between them should be out of the question. In fact, in Jurassic Park 3, the second movie in the series to feature these characters, it's shown that Ellie has gotten married and that she and Alan are still friends. Now personally, I like to see platonic relationships between male and female characters in movies because I hate the idea that movies constantly shove in my face that romantic relationships are somehow superior to all other relationships, or that men and women can't be friends with each other without falling in love. But this movie can't have anything nice in it, so of course it has to stupidly hook them up at the end. Just like every other movie ever. How original. So I know what you're probably thinking right now. You're probably thinking, but Daniel, I don't care about the story and characters. That's not why I watch a Jurassic Park movie. I just want to see some badass motherfucking dinosaurs. Well, I hate to break it to you, but this movie is not even about dinosaurs. I swear I'm not joking. You would think a movie called Jurassic World Dominion would be about dinosaurs. You'd think the movie would be about what they show in the trailers. A world that's now being populated by dinosaurs, and humans and dinosaurs now have to figure out how to coexist. Well, the trailers lied to you. That's not what this movie is about, at all. Now, the movie opens with a news report that shows that the dinosaurs are spreading across the world, but then they immediately get rounded up into a containment area, except for a few black market ones and like a few random other ones. So, the whole dinosaurs taking over the Earth problem is basically solved in the first 5 minutes of the movie. I swear I'm not joking, that's literally what happens in the movie. So you may be thinking right now, but Daniel, what is this movie about then? Well, locusts. Fucking locusts. I swear I'm not making this up. This is literally what's in the movie. I swear I'm not making this up. And I know I sound like a broken record at this point saying that over and over, but I feel like this movie is just so unbelievably stupid that no one would possibly believe that it actually is what it's about unless they've actually seen it. But I swear this is what it's about. So the plot of this movie is that a giant farming corporation creates giant locusts to wipe out their competitors' crops and create a global food shortage so that everyone will have to just buy their crops. And the main characters have to sneak into the corporation's facility, get evidence that they created the locusts, and then reveal that evidence to the world. I swear I'm not lying. That's literally the plot of this movie. I'm not crazy. I mean, I am, but not because of this. This is literally what the movie is about. A Jurassic World movie that's about fucking locusts. So, almost the entire movie is just the characters trying to sneak into this facility and figure out what this company is up to, which we already know what they're up to because they reveal it in like the first 10 minutes of the movie, but the characters don't. So we're just watching the characters try to figure out what we, the audience, already know, and it's just fucking boring. And then they like go to Malta for some reason because Maisie gets kidnapped because the corporation wants her, I guess, and they think she might be in Malta for some reason, so they go there, and none of it makes any sense. None of this plot makes any sense whatsoever. And you might be thinking right now, fine, I'll just fast forward to all the dinosaur parts because that's all I want to see in this movie. Well, if you do that, the movie's only going to be like 20 or 30 minutes long. And on top of that, the dinosaurs in this movie totally suck. First of all, they don't even act like believable animals. They just act like mindless, generic movie monsters. They're just mindless eating machines. Well, they're actually more like mindless growling machines, because all they really do in this movie is just stand around and growl and don't really do much else. I mean, they're just total chumps that pose no real threat to the main characters whatsoever. Pretty much every dinosaur encounter in this movie goes something like this. Dinosaur jumps out, growls, human acts mildly concerned, runs away, dinosaur gives chase, human escapes, on to the next scene. And it's just as boring as I made it sound. They introduced this dinosaur called a Giganotosaurus, which is basically a bigger T-Rex. And they say it's the biggest carnivore ever to walk the earth, which is a fucking lie, because the Spinosaurus is actually the biggest carnivore ever to walk the earth, but they already had that dinosaur in Jurassic Park 3, and they need to make you think that their newest dinosaur is actually the biggest one, so they just lie to you, because, who cares about that?
What is that?
Biggest carnivore the world has ever seen.
You are a liar!
And speaking of Jurassic Park 3, if you've ever seen that movie, then you'll remember a scene where the Spinosaurus fights the T-Rex and beats it to show that the Spinosaurus is the new biggest predator around. And they tried to have a similar scene in this movie where the Giganotosaurus fights the T-Rex and beats it, but they just have the Giganotosaurus walk up, bite the T-Rex on the nose, and then the T-Rex just walks away. It's the most boring fight they possibly could have had. Jurassic Park 3 literally did a better job with its dinosaur fight than this movie. How am I using Jurassic Park 3 as an example of what a Jurassic Park movie should do right? How did we get here? So this movie doesn't even care about basic facts about dinosaurs. There's this dinosaur in the movie called a Therizinosaurus. It's a dinosaur with these really long claws on its hands. And the movie depicts it as a predator, but in reality, Therizinosaurus was a plant eater.
Therizinosaurus, it's a plant eater, not a predator.
Or like, there's this scene where Chris Pratt lassos a Parasaurolophus, and he somehow holds it back, even though it's this huge dinosaur. And then, even though it has a rope around its neck, and it's been struggling, it just like immediately calms down for no reason. Or like there's this scene where a Diplodocus wanders into this lumber camp, and the workers lure it away with a flare like it's a fucking moth or something. I guess because the T-Rex in the first movie got distracted by a flare in one scene, now they think that all dinosaurs are just attracted to flares for some reason. Like, what is this movie? Why can't they get basic dinosaur facts right? Honestly, this movie is just utterly baffling to me as to how it even got made. The sheer incompetence here is just staggering. How do you make a Jurassic Park movie that isn't even about dinosaurs, and the few dinosaurs that are in it are just all boring and stupid? If you can't even get the most basic thing about your movie right, what makes you think anyone is going to want to watch it? And on top of that, the thing you replace the dinosaurs with in the plot is locusts? Fucking locusts? Who thought this was a good idea? Who was it who said, I don't think people want to see dinosaurs in a Jurassic Park movie. I think what they want to see is locusts. Fucking locusts. This movie is a fucking joke. Who came up with this? Who thought this was a good idea? How is this real? This is easily the stupidest movie I've seen all year. Guys, on a scale of 1 to 10, Jurassic World Dominion gets a 1. Ugh. Well, at least this is purportedly the last movie in the Jurassic World franchise, so at least we don't have to put up with any more of these terrible movies. Anyway, what do you guys think about Jurassic World Dominion? Whatever you thought, let me know down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching this video, and remember that unlike this movie, you are extraordinary. I love all of you so much. Bye. 'Cause you're extraordinary. Yes, you know it's true. Extraordinary. That's why I